Today we are talking against all odds. I'm not talking about Phil Collins, I'm talking about Impact Wrestling, back with another special taking place this Friday. Of course, it'll be June the 9th, taking place in Columbus, Ohio at the Ohio Expo Center. There are 8 matches to talk about at the time of recording, championship matches, a brand new match type as well, which I'm looking forward to talking about, the 8-4-1 match. But we're going to start things off by talking about what will be the expected main event of the show. Steve Maclin defending the Impact World Championship against Alex Shelley. Now, of course, Alex Shelley becoming the #1 contender at Under Siege, winning that 6-pack challenge to get this opportunity. Alex Shelley has been there before, going for the championship against Josh Alexander last year. Of course, he came up short on that occasion, though he believes Steve Maclin is no Josh Alexander. Now, he may think that, but Steve Maclin, for me, I think he's going to retain. I think he is the business for Impact. I think he was going to dethrone Josh Alexander before that injury, although it feels to me by the way that discussion, Maclin could be a long-term Impact World Champion until we eventually get that match with Maclin and Josh Alexander. But for this match here, I'm going for Steve Maclin to pick up the win. Next then, let's talk about the first time ever, the 8-4-1 match. Now, I'm not talking about Pennsylvania. No, I'm not doing that indeed. In fact, this is a unique match that has never been done before in Impact Wrestling. The winner becomes the #1 contender for Steve Maclin or Alex Shelley, whoever the world champion will be, by Slammiversary. Now, to go through the rules of this match, we've got a start, will be an 8-man tag team match. The winning team competes then in a fatal 4-way, and the winner goes on to Slammiversary. So let's go through the 2 teams, 2 wildcard teams as well. We've got Bully Ray, Jonathan Gresham, Heath and Nick Aldis. I'm pretty sure we've never seen them team before and perhaps never will again. They'll be going against Moose, Speedball Mike Bailey, Rich Swann and PCO. A unique factor here with this match. Really excited for the concept. Very similar to a fantasy booking idea I did for the Survivor Series many moons ago when I first started YouTube. Pretty much my rules for that was very similar to this. 2 wildcard teams in the Survivor Series style match, and then obviously it was the full Survivor Series elimination style of match, and then if a team survived, they would go on to face each other, eliminate till it was the sole survivor. I think it was the sole Survivor Series match is what I called it back in the day. This is the closest thing we're going to ever get to that, and I must admit I'm really excited for it because this is something creative, fresh, new. This is something that puts Impact Wrestling on the map, and it's a very fitting theme for against all odds as well. And like I said, the winner here becoming #1 contender as well. There is stakes to this match as well that makes it even more exciting. There was a great shout that perhaps this match could be a sub main event for this show. So let's go into a prediction of how I see this playing out. And I think first off, we have to pick a team to move on to the Fatal 4-Way match. I'm going to go for the team of Bully Ray, Jonathan Gresham, Heath and Nick Aldis. Mainly, if we look on the other side, as I've said earlier in this video, I think Steve Maclin is going to be the one to retain, so that rules out Moose as a potential contender. Speedball Mike Bailey is awesome in the ring, but I just don't think that he will be going to Slammiversary. Rich Swann currently wrapped up with the OVE stuff along with the design as well at this particular moment, so I think that he's let's say focus will continue on that after Against All Odds. And PCO just had the title match at Under Siege, so I think it's time for something a bit fresh. But then for the winner of the Fatal 4-Way between Bully Ray, Gresham, Heath and Aldis, I'm going to narrow it down to 2. It'll be Bully Ray or Nick Aldis, purely because, well, Bully Ray, he's been on the side with Steve Maclin at the end of Under Siege, putting Scott D'Amore through a flaming table. They've talked about being teammates. They've also talked about being opponents this past week on Impact Wrestling. Or it could be Nick Aldis, the guy who came in at Rebellion, sitting at ringside, watching Steve Maclin win the Impact World Championship, of course, against Kushida at that time. It felt like it was a destination that Nick Aldis would be going for the championship. And I suppose, well, he's won it Under Siege. How do you want to shot put him straight into the world title scene? Put him in the ring with 7 of the other best that Impact has to offer and have him walking away as that sole survivor. If he can manage to, coexist with his team to get to the Fatal 4-Way, to then win that Fatal 4-Way, well, I think Nick Aldis immediately jumps up that ladder and then is a natural #1 contender. Maclin versus Aldis feels like the right main event for Slammiversary, in my personal opinion. Next, let's talk about the X Division Championship rematch from Under Siege. We've got Trey Miguel defending against Chris Sabin. Of course, spray paint was used to seal the victory for Trey and Miguel in their last encounter. Will that play out this time? I imagine there'll be a way to counteract it and we'll get a conclusive, definitive win here this time around. Although for me, I think Trey and Miguel will still find a way to escape with their X Division Championship. He's on a roll right now, and of course he's becoming one of the longest reigning X Division champions of all time. So yeah, I reckon that reign will continue at least until Slammiversary. We've got a dog collar match next with Masha Slamovich going against Killer Kelly. Really looking forward to this. Under siege, these two ladies couldn't be pulled apart in a massive brawl that took place at the end, I believe, the Nick Aldis match. It just was going through the crowd, going through the entire arena. To be fair, these two, they're going to need to be chained together to get this one done. A dog collar match, a very violent stipulation, and I've got to say, Masha Slamovich, of course, you know, has been ruthless since coming into Impact, but so has Killer Kelly, and I'm loving her character work. For me, I think that this could be a natural sort of fit for her character to go into a match like this. To go for a prediction of who I think will win, I think that I'm going to go with Masha Slamovich to pick up the victory, although for me, I would like Killer Kelly to pick up the win. My reasoning for it is when you look with Slammiversary, we've got Deonna Purrazzo versus Trinity for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Championship, and I think that should Trinity pick up the victory, or Deonna for that matter, they're probably going to want a heel to go against. So for me, Masha Slamovich, for me, I think being a heel makes the most sense to pick up the victory in this match. But like I say, all day long, I'll be rooting for Killer Kelly. I'm a massive fan of her work. Speaking of Deonna Purrazzo and Trinity, there'll be an attack team match going against Gisele Shaw and Savannah Evans. Of course, those two ladies did sort of attack Trinity and Deonna after the Slammiversary match was made official this past week on Impact Wrestling. While Shaw and Evans also took out Jordan Grace as well, I don't see him picking up a victory in this tag team match. My prediction will be Deonna Purrazzo and Trinity. I think the question of this match will be, will they be able to coexist? I think that despite there may be being parts of friction in the match, they'll find a way to overcome the odds and pick up the win against Shaw and Evans. Elsewhere, we've got the two locker room leaders going against one another. Eddie Edwards, of course, the heel, not being such a good locker room leader in the modern day, going against Frankie Kazarian, of course, to be fair, has been having a lot of focus on him in Impact Wrestling. Of course, Frankie Kazarian starting nearly 20 years ago in Impact as well, so it seems like a natural fit to be a good locker room leader. Of course, Eddie Edwards almost been Mr. Impact for the last 10 years, not going anywhere else. Looking forward to this match. I think as a prediction from this show, it depends if this match is won and done. I think Kazarian wins the feud. It all depends though if this carries over to Slammiversary, because these are two big names here. You could easily do this match one more time if you wanted to. I think it would perhaps make more sense here for Eddie Edwards to win via shenanigans, not the antics of what a locker room leader should represent. Then you do the rematch at Slammiversary and Kazarian picks up the victory there. So for me, I'm going to go for Eddie Edwards to win on this occasion. Although like I say, it depends if this is one and done. I expect this to carry over to Slammiversary. Next, we'll talk about the Digital Media Championship. Joe Hendry going against Dirty Dango. Dirty Dango being dirty in the last match these two had at Under Siege, using a low blow to get DQ'd. Dirty Dango, of course, was the one who took out Santino Marella as well, despite doing all the research as well, trying to, I suppose, pinpoint someone else, and eventually actually saying Joe Hendry was going to be the one that was going to be accused, because Hendry was finding out in the end while taking off the shirt of Dango that Dango had the missing hair that was found as evidence at the start of the case. Now, to see this actually then play out this time, I don't expect that there will be any shenanigans this time. I think Joe Hendry will retain his championship, therefore we can see Santino Marella try to get his revenge on Dirty Dango. I expect Dango will find another way to get that heel heat back, because for me, Joe Hendry should not be losing that championship to Dirty Dango in my personal opinion. Even if it does make any storyline sense, I don't want to see it. Joe Hendry to pick up the W. In fact, perhaps maybe Santino Marella could and should be a reason that Dango loses this match to make them two have their match at Slammiversary. Last but not least, then, let's talk about the Impact World Tag Team Championships, ABC. Of course, the Bullet Club's Ace Austin and Chris Bay going against the Good Hands, who've got Brian Myers in their corner. What happened to Brian Myers and Moose's tag team? It seems to have gone quiet in the last couple of weeks, although perhaps maybe this will be the start to rebuild that for Slammiversary. I'm going for ABC here to beat the Good Hands. Great opportunity for the Good Hands here to get a showcase match for the tag team titles, but I don't see Ace Austin and Chris Bay losing. Perhaps maybe this then can build to those two, ABC against Brian Myers and Moose, for the tag team titles at Slammiversary. So that's my predictions there for Against All Odds, taking place live on Friday night, of course on the 9th of June. That'll be 8 PM Eastern for those keeping score for the time zones. That means that will be 5 PM Pacific, and of course that means 1 AM for those watching in the UK. But I hope everyone enjoys the show. It's time to get yourselves involved in the comments below. What are your predictions here for Against All Odds? Let me know in the comments below right now. If you've enjoyed the video, please like the video, share with a friend, and subscribe as well. And like I say, keep an eye on the channel because we're going to go full on Slammiversary mode once we get to the build of that show. But thank you all for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. Have yourselves a great day. You've been watching SCW here on YouTube.